Hey guys, Dave here from Nerdarchy for Nerds, by Nerds, hanging out with the full crew.
I'm Ted.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Nate.
Today we're going to be talking about the Sage Advice that recently came out from Wizards of the Coast, and they kind of delved into the feats and broke some of them down. I guess the ones they were getting the most questions about on how they work and some of the intricacies, and they actually like blew the door off some things for us.
I think so.
Like, whoa.
So, and actually, looking at this Sage Advice actually caused me to look a little deeper at some
Reevaluate your life a little bit, maybe?
my choices I made.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or go back into PHB and start looking at some of the feats all over again. Like, for instance, they don't mention it here, but they do reference it, even though it's not one of the main ones they talk about, Great Weapon Fighter. Well, one of the abilities of Great Weapon Fighter actually applies to any weapon, any melee weapon, not just great weapons or two-handed weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what ability is that applies to all?
If you get a crit or you drop something, you get the bonus attack.
Okay, so the baked in basically for you 3rd edition heads that would have been cleave.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of cool, and they did the same thing with Crossbow Expert, and that's the first one on the list. So let's start with that. What do you guys think?
Well, I've been in a couple of campaigns, and I was actually in one game where like half the players were dual wielding, hand crossbows, just for the extra attack from the bonus attack in the second hand.
Yeah, I feel like everyone that has read that has read it the same exact way. If you have 2 hand crossbows, you can fire them both.
Yeah.
And when you actually look at it, it actually says, well, you don't actually need a second one.
It just says when you're wielding a one-handed weapon, which a hand crossbow is, you can use your bonus action to fire another hand crossbow. So essentially, basically, it just gives you an extra attack with a hand crossbow.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the nice thing is you get to cut down on expenses, save a little bit of that coin, because hand crossbows are friggin' expensive.
They are indeed.
And some municipalities
not really,
may be
dude.
illegal.
Not compared to 3rd edition. In 3rd edition, they were ridiculous.
They're like 1,000.
They were like 600 gold.
That's because they were like this big, like they're made by like gnome children or something like that. Sweatshops.
It was like the cricket at MIB.
So you wind up still being able to get the same number of attacks off as the dual wielder
For half the price.
For half the price.
For half the price.
It's a bargain.
And,
I call that a bargain of death.
And it's not ridiculous anymore.
And you need to have that one hand free. But what it does say is that unless it's got like an auto reloader, which I haven't actually seen anything that actually has that.
No.
So it
But
implies,
I'm sure in splat books there's going to be, because there was like the bolt, the case of bolts where it was like 6 shots or
I
something.
feel like they might never put it in. It's like if the DM wants to do that kind of stuff, just do it.
Based on your
I don't think I'd
Look, we've all know it's there. It was actually a Chinese weapon, but that's where it originally came from.
It said like made in China right on the butt of the
Yeah.
crossbow.
But the wording in here is actually a magic reloading crossbow or a gnomish contraption.
Yes, right.
Well, so in Eberron totally would fit and be thematic. Some other lower tech campaigns and games, no.
Maybe
But
Trinemet. Maybe?
Trinemet if we want to go
Steam
that high.
powered.
I don't know.
Steam powered. Gatling gun, hand crossbows.
In the game I DM, someone has one.
But I
It's
just
made of mithril and adamantium, though, so it's not
Requires
like,
a backpack for Steam.
Some assembly required.
I like when they actually tease that type of stuff to be like, yeah, we're gonna say it's possible, and we're not gonna give you any kind of stats. That's all on you guys. I love that stuff.
Yeah, because this way, if you have a DM that says no, they're just like, well, I don't see it in the book, so
Yeah,
I guess
it gives the power back to the DM.
Yeah, I guess not.
And that totally fits the theme of 5th edition.
Yeah.
So the other thing they break down with hand crossbow, so this is something we got to totally look at all the feats for now anyway, is the fact that anytime you use a ranged weapon, technically, if you use it in melee, you're at disadvantage. So if you have an opponent adjacent to you, it doesn't matter whether you're shooting at him or not, you're at disadvantage to fire. Whether it's a spell, longbow, crossbow, doesn't matter.
Right.
Crossbow Expert eliminates that, but they go a step further. They say any ranged attack.
Right.
It's not specific.
So you could say, you know what? I've trained a little bit with crossbows as a mage. I'm going to take it just so that I can, cast my spell.
So you can firebolt people in the face.
Right. That's right, directly in the face.
Boom!
Don't make me wiggle this thumb.
Firebolt execution style.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Or if you're a sorcerer and you have the quicken meta magic feat, you're like, what?
He's from the south central side of the kingdom. Watch out. Yeah. Oh, there's halflings.
So what else you got?
So next we move on to Lucky, and here's where
Speaking of halflings, and
here's where Ted's gonna cry a little bit.
I'm not
gonna play and laugh.
he doesn't want people to get lucky.
It's not that. It's just I happen to disagree with this particular or one portion of the example here.
You should personally.
He doesn't want your half man to be the luckiest half man alive.
I can't be with disadvantage. Man.
You should write the writer of this article and just you're wrong. I am Ted.
Listen, Mr. Designer.
I don't think I'm so high and mighty that
you are Ted of Nerd.
No. In the letter, mail him a glove and be like, "You must slap yourself across his face."
I challenge you to a duel
with this glove. I challenge you to a duel.
There needs to be a skin about that.
I just feel like with the advantage disadvantage system that you get it or you get advantage or have disadvantage for a reason, and to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to take lucky and I'm going to turn that disadvantage into mega advantage,
an advantage that's not even actually in the regular rules.
Right. Yeah. I don't feel that
triple advantage.
I don't think that's the way the system is designed. They say, well, nope, you got the situation.
I don't think the system was designed that way, Mr. System Designer.
Well, I don't think you can take a bad situation and be like, you know what, I'm going to make it even better.
Lucky.
Well, you're lucky.
You clearly have not met Longshot from the X-Men comics.
You clearly have not met all of the Avengers when they fight aliens and other such things.
So
I look at it this way though: you get to do it 3 times a day. And that's for ability checks, saving throws, and attack rolls. Or
negging somebody else, like giving somebody else a negative to hit you.
Somebody else.
Yeah.
How many die rolls does that really encompass in a session? That's a lot of die rolls, in my opinion. And you get to do it 3 times.
And how many times are you actually going to be in disadvantage? You're going to create a disadvantage so that you can be like triple advantage.
You're like, I'm going to attack him with my eyes closed, Mr. DM.
But I still hit.
I just lopped his head off.
It's a situation.
I think that's hysterical.
It's a situation that players who are aware of it will say, you know what, I'm going to exploit that because they want, it's 5% chance to be able to get a crit, 10 if you wind up having those couple of things that make you crit on a 19 or plus, and there are people who are going to make, you know what, no, I'm gonna do this just that I have
a concept though now, I'm just thinking of this character that's a complete and utter tit, but he just gets lucky, he happens get through the circumstance somehow.
It happens in novels and comic books all the time.
This guy that's just a
G.I. Joe. Remember the G.I. Joe ninja chick that couldn't fight for shit unless she blindfolded herself?
No, I don't remember.
It was one of the newer ones. You don't?
No.
You suck.
Sorry.
You're
Are you divorcing your brother now?
Yeah. I am. He's out.
I didn't even know we were married, and that's not even legal in the state of New Jersey. I mean, what's going on here?
But in Ireland, it might be all right now. Go Ireland.
Right, because... all right, anyway. Off topic. Yeah.
Now, the other side of the thing is...
Hi, Lloyd.
What's up?
Did we even actually explain the rule? We didn't.
Maybe.
Basically,
get it from inference there.
Basically, what they're saying is, if you have disadvantage, you roll the two attacks.
Declare lucky.
Declare lucky.
Spend the point.
You spend a point. You roll the third D20.
Cut that off.
and the way it says here, you then have the ability to pick of those 3 dice which die result you're using, because it goes back to that the specific rule over the general applies, and with lucky, when you use lucky, you
always pick the best.
You always pick the best. So that's the case.
I like it. In my game, it's on. Bring it.
My Dragonborn has the lucky feat because I am a luck dragon. So after all, his name is Falcor. So
I'll go with the Nerdarchy. I just
you have put in your dissenting opinion.
Yeah,
yes,
right. We're like court justices, and he's writing the dissenting opinion.
I wouldn't want to be the a-hole that says, you know what, well, I'm going to screw over players because I want to. I don't think that's right. The rules, it's clearly stated.
No, you got to be the a-hole that starts giving lucky to all your villains, and your players will come
pinned him and knocked him on the ground. You just got stabbed in the heart.
Yeah, your players will be giving your villains disadvantage, and you'll be like, "Well, my villain is now spending his luck point to have mega super advantage. What now? You want it in the game? It's in the game."
That's right. I can use it same time, man.
There is always that. I'm not going to make a sprue of villains that all have lucky feet just to screw over
I'm
players.
making the lucky gang.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, lucky number 7.
They can be luck monsters.
Yeah.
So it's there. It has its clarification, and despite my not liking it, I will side with the rest of Nerdarchy and go by what the clarification is.
I mean, it is a little it's a little biased because 2 of the people here have characters with a lucky feet. Right? I mean, nobody's gonna say
They're neither one. I'm not in Ted's game as the lucky guy.
Yeah, no, but
They're both in my games.
Spelljammers. Yeah. Spelljammer and the other game.
Moving on next to Magic Initiate. I've taken this with a couple different characters that I've played, and I've always taken it outside of my class. Just because
for the sweet cantrips, right?
Not just for the sweet cantrips, but just to have something that's like, all right, well, I want to flavor this character with a different type of casting than what he already has.
I love Magic Initiate for the Warlock multi-class human because I can take it at first level and still feel like the Warlock pact has been taken, and even though I can only officially take class second level, so I've done that. My character in Scott's game was a fighter Warlock with the Magic Initiate feat Warlock. But it doesn't really help you at all as a Warlock because you have so few castings.
But it winds up giving you, as a Warlock, your spell slots level up. That one won't, so it'll stay as a first level.
Yeah.
But if you take it, say, as a sorcerer, where you're limited on your spells,
sorcerer kicks ass with that feat.
You wind up, you get that extra first level spell slot, which is awesome. You get that spell known, and it's specifically clarified.
So this feat really was made, tailored, and designed for the sorcerer. I mean, like the way it's been clarified now, like that totally.
Well, not really. I mean, the wizard.
They're the one who benefits from it the most.
Putting another spell in your book, that's 50 gold pieces you just saved.
Yeah, but does the wizard get the extra slot too? Like, is that?
Well, regardless, like if you take this as your class and you remain a single casting type character, you essentially have an extra first level spell slot and to do with as you please. Okay. The only time you have the stipulation to worry about
is the Warlock.
If you because it's going to stay as a first level.
Cross-class.
If it's a cross-class situation, because then it's not a spell slot. You have I can cast this once a day. But it adds that to your spells known for your same caster, so you get to manipulate it as much as you choose.
Like as a sorcerer, I just call that more sorcery points.
2 extra sorcery points.
and that's what it is. You have the ability to manipulate it in any way, shape, or form. I think it's fantastic. So it's much
flippin'
It actually works the way I thought it should have.
Sort of. No, but weren't you going? You were going more with cross class. Anything. It's just a spell on your list.
Well, I kind of felt that was too powerful. That's what I wanted it to do.
Yeah.
Like, totally wanted it
to
do.
But yeah, I guess the problem with that, though, is, like, it totally negates, like, the healer classes, in my opinion.
Because you could take a pumpable Cure Wounds and be like, no.
Yeah, if you had the ability to say, all right, I'm a mage, I'm going to take Magic Initiate Cleric, I'm going to add Cure Wounds to my list, get an extra first level spell slot, I now can cast a 5th level Cure Wounds.
Get that sorcerer with that, you're actually you could be a better healer than the cleric because, well, not really. But you're comparable because you can twin a cure spell.
Well, I wanted it to do that. I understood why it shouldn't do that. I mean, being a person that likes casters, I understood why it shouldn't do that because the healing thing and other properties as well. But if you are a cleric or a sorcerer and you take the sorcerer stuff for more magic, we still were kind of ruling that it didn't do.
Correct. Yeah,
it still gave you a level 1 spell slot, like basically a once per day spell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which it does, but now it gives you the variety of
versatility.
Yeah, you have another spell prepared, you have another spell known, you have another spell in your spell book.
Yeah.
You forever will only have that one first level spell to cast. The actual slot.
Yeah.
So
no matter what happens with it.
Yeah, so it's a little more versatile if you go to the same class.
So if you,
I like it.
I think it's great. I think it actually has made that feat a little bit more powerful. The versatility of it, of still being able to dip into another casting class. If you want to be I'm a everything caster, you can still do that.
Well, or if you're just a
like
fighter,
the spell
you're just a
slot.
fighter, and you want to take cure wounds at once a day, or
Because you're Dragon Mark House.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, it's a way to kind of do the Dragon Mark mechanic with Magic Initiate.
Well, yeah, they actually say that in the Dragon Mark thing. As a matter of fact, they say what Aberrant Mark should be is actually just take Magic Initiate feat and say,
this is related to my
John. But then thinking about it, I'm like, well, you could do the same exact thing with Dragon Marks and actually take the actual Dragon Mark feat and then take Magic Initiate on top of it and just have that much more magic to wield.
Yeah, I think that's a great system.
So
now we go on to Polearm Master.
This is the one I actually got right from the beginning. Because they basically say that second attack with the butt is a weapon attack. You get your strength damage on it. It's not two-weapon fighting.
Correct.
And that's exactly how I ran it.
Yeah, it was screwing about with that.
Otherwise, it felt like it was totally lame. It's like, yeah,
I can do
weapon,
D4.
I can just also use a dagger.
Well, no,
Well,
that's
can't.
not entirely true because you still get to use the reach property to attack people when they move through your threat.
Do you get to use the versatile property, say, of the quarterstaff then? Like the two-handed... Like, if something is wielded two-handed, like, say, the spear...
Yeah, you would still use it if you're using
you get the versatile damage. Well, that's kind of
I think
sweet.
so.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that would be kind of cool.
Actually, it doesn't say, but I would say yes.
Yeah, I would agree. Because you can wield it like it's a essentially a long club, and then when someone gets in close, you can just pop them.
Well, you just whip it around.
Well, it says you're supposed to be using the other end to get the D4.
Yeah, no, I mean, but, like, so you're spearing, and then you turn and crack them over the skull with the butt end. But, I mean, like, because you can technically wield and I think it even, I think the spear is versatile, because you can wield a spear overhanded, because spear and shield is a fighting style.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, that's, my question is, like, can you do this, the versatile for the higher damage die, and still do the offhand attack of the D4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
rule for it too, because really reach weapons is the way to go. And
Well, 'cause, I mean,
You totally baseball bat them, and then just like boop, at the end.
Because I would say, like, if you're wielding it, you in order to be using it as the great weapon fighter, you're using it in two hands. So you're using the higher damage, and then pop them with the back end. So
Pop them.
Yep.
So you just pop them.
Whack 'em all.
That's right. They have it coming.
So that pretty much covers it.
So hopefully they do some more of these. But I was looking at Durable, which it gives you a bump to con, +1 to con, and then you have a minimum of I think twice your con modifier. Hopefully I'm quoting that right. Twice your con modifier is the minimum you can get from a hit die.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, if your hit die is a die 6 and you have like an 18 con, you actually get more back from your healing hit die than you actually have on the hit die.
Right, but when you expend a hit die, you heal your hit die plus your con mod.
It's a D roll.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So
I forgot about that.
The only time it would really be an issue, would be like, okay, well,
You'd have to roll really crappy.
You'd have to roll that 1 and be like, all right, well, I get 5 back. Well, no, I'm getting 8 back.
So, although on a D6, if you're like a dwarf and you have a 20 con, a minimum of 10, so you can only get back 10 or 11.
Yeah.
I would just not even roll at that point and be like, I just used 3 hit dice and get back 30 hit points. Thanks.
You don't want to go for the extra 3?
No, I'm really not going to roll for the extra 3.
I would. But I like rolling dice.
Ted, I kind of knew you were going to say that.
You're so dicist.
I mean, I didn't get the words Tedwood out of my mouth, but yeah.
He's being all dicey there.
So, what about you guys out there, man? Do you vehemently disagree with Watts like Ted did?
And want to fight this guy?
Yeah.
It's only on the lucky. Everything else, I think I gave the thumbs up to.
And and what feats would you like to see them clarify? Put it down in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can check us out on nerdarchy.com.
You can hang out with us over on Facebook.
Also join the conversation over on Reddit.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.